there's almost no smell, but we've given this reel a few coatings of some ceramic wax. And while it's not bad, this wax does have a tiny bit of smell. So we will be trying to remove it and re-wax it with a new wax that I've ordered. It should be there sometime soon, hopefully. So we'll use just some soap, some dish soap. And I'm doing this step before our reel service. We can apply the other wax after this reel service. But right now, basically what we're doing is we're really cleaning this reel up thoroughly with soap and plenty of water. We'll let it dry out for at least a couple days, better a couple weeks. After that is done and it's all dried up, then it's going to be time to service it, apply the new wax, maybe after the service, give it a quick clean, just a slightly wet towel, a little bit of soap, then apply the new wax. Let that, a few layers of that, and that's like 3 to 5. With plenty of curing time in between. And then it'll be ready, more than ready for spooling. Is this overkill? Yeah. Is it gonna ensure best results? Also, yeah. I've paid a lot for this reel. So I want to make sure to do everything proper. Just giving it a quick rinse. We'll scrub it down with some soap once more. Hi, John. What's up, man? What's up? We're basically doing chemical, quote unquote, chemical decontamination with this reel. Before our proper big initial service. Right, I have 2 more reels. I have to strip the line first on those before I can do the same thing. And again, this is absolutely overkill what I'm doing here. But I want to be rather safe than sorry, you know? Alrighty. Wiping all the excess off with a dry paper towel. Then we'll go wet paper towel and then we'll give it a rinse. And then we'll put it on the heater to dry. I just don't want to accidentally wash soapy water into the reel itself. That might not be ideal. And after this is done, we'll move on to oh shit, that wasn't a rookie mistake. It will be completely serviced. I'm not too worried about getting it really wrapped right now. Okay, done. Do we have a fresh towel to wrap it in? Not a towel, but we have this bag. We'll hang this somewhere. It can just slowly and gently dry. I'll hang it next to my heater. That'll be a good spot for it. Let's give this at least a few days to completely dry before we move on to our service. We've got some other reels to clean and serve this, but I won't go into as much. I won't do nearly as much to those reels because, I mean, I will give them a scrub down, not that dissimilar, but yeah, not quite as much. To use distilled water after saltwater fishing, they recommend bringing it with you and doing it at the car. No. I just would use fresh water usually. I mean, yeah, distilled water is probably ideal, but honestly, if you just have some ideally relatively soft, just rinse. Just when you get home, what I take my rods and reels into the shower and give them a spray down, and then like a proper wash for my conventional reels, and on my spinners, I make sure to turn the line roller and flips the bail a few times under running water. Anything else, you can absolutely do it, but you know. I don't know how much of a difference it really is going to make, and it can get quite pricey pretty fast. But the distilled water might be a worth an idea for fishing trips where I don't have access to running water. You probably need less to get the same cleaning effect, I would imagine. Anywho, here's our catfish setup, and I might keep this leader, but I have to redo the bottom connection here. And I think I might actually try crimping the 7-strand titanium, which I'm generally not a fan of crimp titanium. But with a soft copper crimp and a gentle crimp, this might actually come out pretty well. And it has an advantage, it doesn't bunch up like a knot and ends up kinking the titanium. And really, I have more and more faith in crimps the longer I'm doing this. Yeah, no, these are still too big. So it might not be. I might not crimp this. I might just retie it. Less. Oh, sorry, folks. Unless I find some crimps that fit, and they're still big enough to be used for my crimping pliers. That's also the problem. That my NekoPress can't handle the super tiny crimps. So they can also become an issue. And I wouldn't recommend crimping titanium with anything other than a NekoPress. I would not crimp titanium with a regular crimpers, because, yeah. I don't know if I can, like, basically, because, you know, if you have a crimpers that give several distinct crimping points, that'll definitely mess with your titanium. If you have one long, smooth crimping surface, that won't be too bad if done properly on titanium. But you gotta know what you're doing for that. if you don't, then best to just leave your fingers just off of it, and yeah. Then it's best to just tie knots. Do a four turn clinch. Because do you have a place close by to go for some salmon and brown trout? Well, not really, no. I mean, we do have salmon here, but practically speaking, no. There's so few. Yeah. Salmon in the Rhine. I mean, salmon in Germany already, but especially in the Rhine, not worth attempting. Plus, they're protected. They're protected species on top of that. But even if they weren't, you just wouldn't. You might never catch one if you went a couple days a week, always for salmon. You might still never catch one in your lifetime. So I just wouldn't worry about it. Of course, we have brown trout waters not that far, but you know, it's a bit trickier getting the license and stuff. There is a place I can fish with lots of brown trout. Problem is, I have permission to fish there, but and it's accepted, but it's not 100% legal, which means I cannot do that stuff on video, and usually I haven't really done it. I haven't done it in years. You know? I mean, nowadays, if I can't do videos, then I usually just don't do it most of the time. And not to brag, but I've caught so many trout in my day. It's nothing that gets me super excited anymore. So with that plus all the hurdles means I generally just don't bother. Okay, I could give this crimping one try. There's one way I could try, maybe. But yeah, anyway. Yeah. Nah. This isn't gonna work. So I have one more look around for those crimps of one particular size. But I don't think I'll be crimping this. I just do the trusted, the clinch. Or I already know I can't crimp those. So yeah, I don't know where some of my crimps went. But for the time being, let's just retie this with a knot that I know and trust. Yo, hurting for sturgeon. What's up, Michael? So 4-turn uni clinch knot. Sorry, clinch knot. Don't try uni knots in titanium. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighty. Okay, I think that's all the closing of the knot I'll do. I'll just leave a decent sized tag end. Really, have I dulled these side cutters that much? Okay. Yeah, this'll hold. And our rod is ready to fish again. Although with all the snacks around, I might just do a mono leader. That'll be so much easier. Sorry, not easier, but cheaper. Like if I break off on this, I don't give a shit. Well, I give a shit about the lure, but not about the leader. If I lose it. For that reason, it might be worth a try, you know? That last pen reel, I waited for the guy and he took the reel apart and greased and looped it free. That's nice. Yeah, I definitely got a couple reel services to come up. I actually got 2 reels for free yesterday. Let me guys show you in a second once I've closed this crimp. Yeah, for a long time, I did not crimp mono. Now I do. Because I've tested it, and actually, if you do it properly, it is the strongest connection you can have. Just most people do not do it properly. That's where the problems come in. And I did not know how to print properly not that long ago myself. So, anywho. What big AVATs you got again? Thought you had a 50 wide. Are you asking me? I don't. My only 50 wide at the moment is my Machaira C. This is my 50 wide. Beast of a reel. 85 pounds of drag, 1-to-1 low gear. I like it. It's a good reel, especially for the price, because it's not an expensive reel. Oh shit. Thought I was going to do some shrink tube on this, but it doesn't fit. Well, let's do a little bit of this. This latex tubing then. My only Avid at the moment is an HXW Raptor, 3-speed MC. KK, thought it was an Avid. I love some Achairas. Yeah. Like, unless you want to spend some money on a TRX, definitely get some Achaira. And in the 130 size, I would from what I've heard from people I definitely trust, I would for sure go with some Achaira. And do not, I repeat, do not go with the TRX. But of course, you do you. All right, Al. Because I know a couple people that almost got killed by the Avid TRX 130. Because apparently it has a tendency to lock up on big fish. While the Machaira 130 does not have that problem, and it's still all the reel you're gonna need, you know. The reason the Texas guys don't seem to have issues is because in Texas you just don't need that kind of drag. So for Albert it makes sense because his biggest challenge is cranking in his weights, not fighting the fish. Pat John Spinfisher. Oh, I'm getting hot. I need a bigger reel. My biggest conventional reels is Avid LX single speed with MC. Spinning is my Spinfisher 9500. Yeah, I've got plenty of spics. Do you also want to know about my big spinners, John, or do you already know? All right, here we did a secured slip knot. Looking, geez, this part of the braid is also a bit chewed up. So we're gonna cut this actually. Let's see if our slip knot still opens. It does. It opens just fine. Yeah, thanks. I most likely get the 9,500. Honestly, John, I would recommend you either get the 8,500 or the 10,500, because the 9,500 is the body and almost the exact weight as a 10,500, but with less line capacity. So it's basically the same reel, just with a smaller spool and a smaller rotor. Why? If you get a reel that big, just get the 10,500, and if you actually can use a smaller reel, the 8,500 would be what I'd recommend. Because the 9,500 just is like an in-between size. Same body as a 10,500, but smaller line capacity. So unless you have a very specific reason why that's the reel you want, I would not recommend getting it. Okay, we're gonna do again a secured slip knot clinch. Don't get me wrong, the 9,500s are great reels. Just, they're almost as heavy as a 10,500. Because they're basically the same reel, but yeah, I don't see the point. Okay, this is a secured slip knot. If we push this tack end through this open loop and then pull on it, it opens. But if you pull on this, it'll never open. So this is how we set up. Now we have a crimped mono leader. If this breaks, I'm just gonna stop with the mono shit again. But I'll just want to see how this does. It's also thicker. If I notice a significant decline in lure, how much I feel my lure, I'm also gonna switch back to this stuff. Because it's like literally half the diameter and a quarter of the volume. Because it's titanium and it cannot fray through. It's splitting hairs. I got like 450 yards of 100 pounds. See what you have. Well, my favorite big boy spinning reel, of course, has gotta be. Where's my beauty? It's down here. Sorry for the mess. The 20K Saltiga. 20K Saltiga 2020. I will probably replace this with either the 20K Certate 2025 or 2026, sorry, or the 2025 2,500 Saltiga. But yeah, just because this is an amazing reel, but I don't want to run, especially because of the MaxSeal stuff, I don't want to run into the problem of not getting the spare parts anymore, which is why I might just sell this reel off and get the current model instead. But yeah. But of course, this is a different price range. But I love this reel, and like this, there are cheaper reels that will catch the same fish, but they're a pain to fish compared. Like if you fish this reel all day long, you'll feel fine. If I fish my Quantum Cabos 120, beautiful reels. They're, I think, the most capable reel, the cheapest reel that is a true monster catcher in the spinning reel. But the problem is, if I fish just one day long, even if it's just bait fishing, my elbow's gonna hurt. My elbow hurts from cranking on that reel. On the Saltiga, I feel totally fine. That is And same with the pen reels. The pen reels are a bit nicer to crank, but still, my elbow is gonna give me trouble. While with the Saltiga, I won't have that issue. That's for me like a big deal. And it's just more fun to fish. But you can absolutely get cheaper reels to get the job done. Never been close to getting spooled on it, but it's just a tad. I only get like more at anything I get at least bigger than what I for striped bass and drum. The 8500 is pretty ideal, honestly, since it's still big enough and holds good line capacity and little cheaper than the 9000. Yeah, that's the thing. Like if you, in my opinion, either you want maximum line capacity and the biggest reel there is, spinning reel wise, get the 10,500. If that is not the case, I don't think you need the 9,500. I think you'll probably be fine with the 8,500, which is a much lighter reel. It's a lot lighter than the 9,500. Not just a tiny bit lighter. Well, the 9,500 is just a tiny bit lighter than the 10,500. So I would go either with the 8,500 or the 10,500, depending on if you want the biggest spinning reel there is, or if you want a big spinner, but not a gigantic spinner. Those prices are close enough on most pens. Yeah, although there's some, if you can find it, Sean, do not get if you want to get a $200 reel, do not buy a pen. Buy the Quantum Cabo 100 or 120. Beast of a reel. That thing will beach 4-foot bull sharks without you ever having to do a single pump. That is a reel that I personally believe, in my experience from having fished it, I would say it's stronger than the 2020 Saltiga. It's not as nice. It's not going to last as long. It's not as durable. It's not quite as well sealed. But every single person can service it. It doesn't have a lot of unique parts. So most spare parts you can get from a general supplier, and it's going to catch the same fish. You might have to replace the anti-reverse, but it has a off-the-shelf anti-reverse. It doesn't have a special custom-made anti-reverse. So if the anti-reverse clutch needs replacing in a few years, you'll still be able to find it. You don't need to buy it from Quantum. You can buy it from the manufacturer directly or any distributor. So Quantum Cabo 120, biggest bang for your buck spinning reel there is for anything gigantic. That reel will handle anything from sharks to sturgeon to bluefin tuna. It's just not as nice to fish as a Saltiga, and maybe not as nice to fish as a Penn Slammer or Penn Authority. But it's definitely gonna beat the Penn Battle. It's at least as well sealed, has a better drag, and is a lot stronger. The thing has 65 pounds of drag. I would even say it maxes out at just over 70s, maybe even 75 pounds. So if you want an affordable reel, the problem is it's discontinued, but because it does not have any special parts, really, I don't think that should be an issue. Do I have my Quantum Cabo anywhere? I don't know. Maybe my dad has it right now, or I have it stashed away. Actually, I know where it is, but it would be a pain to get it out now. Yeah, if I bought another Spinfisher, I'd get the 8500 for sure. Interesting. You get, don't you use 30 whites off the boat? To me, that doesn't really check out. Maybe something's wrong on my mind, but if a fish warrants a 30 white from a boat, it definitely needs a 10,500 spinner from shore, because Generally, from the boat, you can get away with lighter gear. But like I said, I might have something wrong. Rob. I would probably just use my HXW Raptor. It's lighter than the big spinning reels, probably weighs close to the 8500. It casts nice. HXW Raptor would probably be my go-to from shore or boat. And you can pack enough line on there. That's what I want, HXW. I've got it. Yeah. Well, you know. Anyway, what was I gonna do? I did have a few more plans on shit to do for today, I think. But let's put this rod away first, and then let's put all the rods away actually, so that I'm out of the way. I wouldn't want to take your reel, bro. You need it. Maybe, yeah. It was a pain to get it over here, especially without customs issues. But yeah, I will be giving it a full service before I'm gonna start using it in salt water, though. Like, the thing is, I don't have a problem casting my 50 wide. I absolutely cast this bad boy out, but it's a pain. Like, if I have to check my rods every 20 minutes, I don't want to be doing that with a freaking 50 wide. So if I have to check a lot frequently, HXW is like the biggest reel that I would use. If I don't have to check my baits all the time, if I might only need to check it every few hours, and there are fish where I might need it, I will absolutely use my 50 wide for casting. No issues. Also, the Machaira is a whole pound lighter, or even more than a pound lighter than the TRX 50 wide, and has almost the same drag. It still has 85 pounds of drag, but it only weighs 4 pounds, or even a little bit less than 4 pounds, while the TRX 50 wides clock in at over 5 pounds, I think, or right around 5 pounds. I definitely need something with more drag and a little more capacity than my LX, but for now it'll work. Lol, John, I use my 9,500 for sturgeon and 6-gill sharks. Hurton is using 8,500 for his 3-foot sturgeon. Yeah. I use a 20K Saltiga for freaking eels. Actually, I use this thing for fishing for eels at times. By far the most fishing I've done with this is casting for conger eels. Yes, shore casting for conger eels has been the primary use of my 50 wide, believe it or not. I'd rather buy your Machaira. The Saltigers are awesome. Well, Curtin, do you want me to? What would be the? I might even be able to get you a new Machaira. I might even be thinking of selling mine as well. But another Machaira that I would sell for sure is my Machaira 30 Golden. I'll show it to you. That reel, it casts fine, but I like the lower gear ratio. But it was a pretty cheap reel, so I'm even with shipping included. If it's without line, I might be able to get it to you for $500. for $500-600 bucks, I can definitely send you my Machaira 30, or it's a 30 wide really, but they just call it a 30. Where is it? It's not anywhere I thought it was. A 30 wide would be great, honestly. I'd use the 50 wide off the boat for 6 skills in sturgeon. Yeah. Actually, if you want tight line braid, I'd have to, because it's new line, I'd have to think what I would charge for it. But for the reel itself, we can $500 and it's yours tomorrow for sure. I wouldn't even have to think about it. Here's the Machaira 30. Okay, I have the line tied around it like Albert style. Let me get it undone, then you can hear it. And you can easily get 70 pounds of actual drag out of this little bad boy. Robert is gonna send me his 130 in the national so I can goof around with catching. Yeah. Let me think. What would this thing swallow in tight line braid? Well, what size braid would you want on it, sturgeon? I'll have to overthink it. I might even be able to go cheaper, but I can tell you for $650, I could ship this reel to you loaded with brand new tight line hollow core. That's definitely a possibility. Shipping included. Anyway, and this reel casts. Like I've casted 50 to 100 yards with this thing. Don't think you can't cast with it. I actually rarely used it for deploying. Have I ever deployed this reel? I'm not sure. I might have always casted it. Because I think it's a size that is very much castable still. Like even if you're sturgeon fishing from shore, if you think you're gonna soak your baits for multiple hours at a time, then I would absolutely use this reel for casting. I'd probably have to do payments with on the reel. Yeah. You can think about it. I'll watch some of Albert's videos to get an idea what hollow core it'll take. But yeah. Right now I have 200-pound Cortland on it. If you think you don't need the line capacity, I could just leave that line on there. I mean, I would still have to charge something for it, but it's not that much yardage. Because that stuff, the thing is, it is so freaking abrasion resistant. Just, you don't want to have to break it off, because you'll have to wrap it around a steel pipe and pull maybe even with 2 people to get that braid to break. But that stuff, you can rub it over rocks forever. I've never known braid that is this tough before. And if you don't need the line capacity, that's actually what I would do in your river, because you fish around a lot of rocks. And the 200-pound still casts very well. If you go to 300-pound braid, that's where I notice this drop off in casting performance. 200-pound on a reel like that casts just fine. It's Cortland 200 on it. Probably around 670 yards at even spool if it's 130, 200 pounds. I'd probably just run the line you got on it. Yeah, I'll have to do some math again to see how much is on there. And I can fill it up for you if you want a full spool. I can make sure that it's, because this still has room for a top shot, you know? Because when I was using it last time, I actually had it topped off with 130 pounds. Sorry, with 300 pounds. Actually, no, with 130, yeah. As you can see, we have a lot of gap. So I would probably fill it up for you if you want to. But yeah, that line is, it's a shit. That's a shit. Let's just put it that way. In that case, you could say probably 600 with shipping, or 650 if you want it filled with line. Like you'll have a faster pickup and of course more capacity, but you'll have less drag and a bit less cranking power on a full spool. I'll hold off on the reel for a minute because I still gotta pay you for the liters. Yeah. No worries. It's not going anywhere. And it's a Makyra. Their service is great and they still make the same reel. I don't think, you know, you'll always get spare parts. So it's not gonna be a reel where you have to get it now while it's hot or anything. So don't worry. It's not Daiwa. Where you should try to sell your old reels and get a new one once they're discontinued within a couple of years. Akuma doesn't do that bullshit. And like I literally have comfortably pumped at 70 pounds of drag with that reel. Of course, not a full spool. At full spool, you don't have 70 pounds of drag. Well, you have like 60, 65. I don't know, like 60 pounds of drag. It has a lot of drag and it can handle a lot of abuse. Let's just put it that way. We'll build a couple of rigs for screw-in jig heads. Question is, should I do it like this or should I do it the same hole? No, this will give better action. Like, well, in dollars, yeah. Makyras really are definitely a good bit cheaper over here than they are in the States. All right. Where are my crimpers? And here. Yeah, maybe. Really? Not expect that to not fit. Okay. Just opening the window a bit. See some fresh air. Oh yeah, buddy. Here, buddy! Oh, these crimps now. righty. Okay, we'll use our let's see. Oh. Okay, if I make more of these hooks, I know how I'll do it, but now I think I have some that'll do the trick. I don't have to special make, so these are for the win. All right. Okie dokie. Where's my other screw and check head? Actually, it doesn't matter because I have to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back, y'all. Be right back. And tomorrow I might not do a live, but after that I'll focus on the shark rigs again. Alrighty. Let's get that lure done and maybe a couple other things, and then it'll be enough for today. Sorry, I'm picking up paint for work and hate to run in and pay for it real quick. All good, man. No one's forcing you to stay here. Oh, buddy. Got it back to work now, so I'll probably catch you on the next live stream. Okay. All good, man. See ya. See ya. Okay, let's check out how. Yeah. I think I'll try. I think this shrinking will close better with some more heat. But this is what it looks like now. Ah, shit. This isn't gonna work unless, no. Well, maybe this, like this, it would work. Yeah. Need to keep in mind its orientation. Okay. I don't feel like redoing it all again, so I'll leave it like that. That's one I didn't see coming. And I need to harden this hook. All righty. Okay, that's sharp enough. Okay, I can't find the freaking thing. Yeah, I also don't really have the nerve right now to do much. Or 40 grams. I might take these with me. 40 grams. Yeah, maybe 35 grams chicken. No. I'm not gonna be in the 50s. That's too much. Okay. I think I gotta end the live because I'm just not feeling it. I want to do Sturgeon's leaders too, but oh man, I need a break. I'm not feeling the best. There's yeah, I might do another live later or not. Depends on how I feel. But now let's take a break.